With no Simone and no T, fans were left to wonder who would pick up the torch. The answer was Rinne. Taking the win in the opening round, the Finn held off some fast company. Not an easy feat at a place like Watkins Glen. Barcelona will be similar, but not. Fewer long straights, more long sweepers. It's a place where the Lotus should shine, if you know how to wield it. Let's see who does as we get ready to watch round 2 of the Lotus 79 Sunday Grand Prix Series. And you'll see it all live here on the Global SimRacing Channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is DJ Clark. Behind the scenes is our director, Ryan Bauer, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Having only been around since the early 90s, Barcelona never got to see the Lotus 79 in competition. But let's head to our track guide to find out what the deal is with this place. Welcome to Circuit de Barcelona, the home of the Spanish Grand Prix for nearly 30 years. It's easy to forget that this is a relatively recently built track in Europe. It's known for its long, sweeping corners and hosts the highest level of open wheel and motorcycle racing. Placing an emphasis on a good aerodynamic setup with high downforce cars, it's often overlooked that it offers plenty of overtaking for lower tier racing as well. In fact, most don't take into account that this adaptable track has 5 different layouts to choose from. These range from the nearly 3-mile-long Grand Prix version to the minuscule 1-mile club circuit. Because of the pit straight being the longest acceleration zone, Elf is the most likely spot for drivers to get it past them. After that, your next hope might be into Lakaja, which, depending on which layout you use, could be a sharpened set of 2 turns or one long hairpin with an opening radius. In the early 2000s, a chicane was added close to the end of the lap, but the old Europe car corner can still be run. The Spanish fans have some gorgeous views from the many hills dotted along the track. And with the international fame this place has built over time, it's no wonder they're almost always full come race day. Well, DJ, it's been the home of the Spanish Grand Prix for some time now, but with older vehicles, what are we expecting today?
Well, Joe, we should see a pretty good race out here, thanks in part to the historic layout that we're running. Now, what that means is that there's going to be a little bit more area to get these cars up to speed, specifically the run out of New Holland, that final corner all the way down to Elf. That should really, really help build up some good drafting for these Lotus 79s, especially considering the main ground effect that they're going to have coming into it. They're going to have to watch out for some tricky areas. Campsa, that corner we always talk about, turn 9 at the top of the hill, that's going to be very, very difficult to get right. But look for some good battles back and forth and some varying lines coming through Renault into Repsol, as these ground effects cars should be able to handle that corner pretty well flat out.
Eye on that, but in the meantime, let's take a look at the championship after our first round. And Rinne took maximum points, pole, fastest lap, and the win. That puts him a full 10 ahead of Frisha, who didn't have the greatest of qualifying. We'll see if he can try and improve on that today, and he is back. He did say that he didn't get the best of one before. Nicola Kochi, Tolanen, and Lino are the remainder of your top 5. However, we have the Classic Teams Championship. That's a little bit more shook up.
It is indeed. There you can see Wersteiner Aero's racing team only ahead by a single point of Equip Renault Elf, and only 5 points back from them. Scuderia Ferrari Spa Cefic sitting there. Candy Team Tyrrell 7 points back and only 2 off of third. And Abelard Williams Racing, well, they're only a single point back off of fourth. So that team's championship very much all to play for here, Joe.
You can definitely see that it is going to be tight with the competition we've had lately in this series. Today's competition, though, will be 32 laps in length. It is an open setup series. I have to imagine we'll see a lot of drivers try to crank as much downforce as they can to get speed through those corners. And it has some incident limits, which is important here at a modern F1 track where it's easy to run wide out of the track boundaries. They'll get a drive through at 17 and a complete disqualification at 25 incidents. So keep an eye on those who are abusing with the cars going past those white lines as we watch a few of our drivers complete this first lap. with about 5 minutes left to go in qualifying. Again, 2 bonus points for taking the pole position. So definitely some impetus if you're one of the fast drivers vying for the championship to put your best foot forward here.
Indeed, as we watch Michael DeTurk here work his way out of that final sequence. Now, this is where it varies from what you normally see if you're tuning into a Formula One race, those corners being relatively flat out all the way through there. DeTurk going to cross over the line. I think he's going to be one of the first guys to put down a time. That's a 1:30.5. He's immediately pipped by Tolanen and Vascalampi.
So Frisha comes across, and it looks like he's starting his first time lap. So we'll wait for him to come back around as we're on board with Severi Seppa, who is just heading out of Repsol into Seat. And he hasn't taken his first lap either. You can see, I'm usually surprised at just how much elevation change there is at this track. You wouldn't think so because of its reputation, but you do climb and fall quite a bit here.
You very much do, and the climb up the hill here in particular, up through Camp's a very, very tricky corner. You saw that little bit of lift there from Severi as he came over the crest of that. Modern Formula One cars, that is about flat out, but in these Lotus 79s, even with the benefit of the ground effects, not able to take it fully. So it looks like he's got a pretty good line, though, coming through the cockpit. Let's see what he does up through here. Nice, tight entry, wide exit, good run through that, and he's going to basically be flat out from here on out is Severi Seppa.
Got a few more fast names coming across the line. Hankel and Millward 4th and 5th. Well, 5th and 4th, respectively. Looks like Seppa finally sets his. He'll go to 8th position. Usually see a little bit better out of him. We'll see if he can improve on the second time around. What about Frisha? Still needing to put one on the board. He's out of Europe car. One more corner to go through New Holland. Is this going to be a competitive one? He keeps it within the boundaries, and as he crosses the line, it's a 30 flat, just under 30.1. That's only good enough for 7th.
That's a mid-pack time there, as you see Nicola Kochi setting the fastest lap of this qualifying session with a 29.7, so a lot of room for Frisha to make up there as Trangrade now bumps himself up to the top with a 29.669.
I don't think we've ever seen Ove on the pole in this series, so that is a fascinating development from him. Kochi has continued to step higher and higher up the field in the Lotus 79s, now vying for wins regularly. Timothy Reed goes up to 11th as we continue to watch on board with Seppa. And I see Hankel getting ready to finish a lap 2. He's just a little bit ahead of here. Little slide there from the Finn coming into Lakaja, and another slide there through Bonk Sabadell.
Yeah, really, really struggling there. I wonder if Severi's a little bit more trimmed out, trying to maximize on the straightaways, not getting a lot of mechanical grips through those semi-slower corners. Millward now goes to the top. I can't think this is going to be a super fast time for Seppa, and indeed, he does not go faster.
Just a little bit too much slipping and sliding around for that Lotus 79, which does allow you to get a little bit sideways. So what about this man? Second place last race. Said he didn't get the best of qualifying and was not happy with that, leaving us to wonder what could have been. Can he improve on it this time? Last season he wasn't so great. It's a 29.6, 4/10 faster, and that will put him on the front row.
That's a great lap there for Frisha. He's got to be happy with that. And I think, Joe, that pretty much wraps up our qualifying.
I think we got one more. Paul Williams has enough time to complete his lap. He's the only other driver out still running in this quali, as we have 20 drivers taking part here today. We are in the highest split. So these are the best of the best here in this strength of field event for the Lotus 79 Classic Teams Championship, as Williams swings it out of Bonk Sabadell. Just 2 more corners to go. Small little corrections as we ride on the helmet cam of the UK&I driver. Let's see if he can improve on the 31.015. He's in 15th, and as he crosses the timing line, it's a 30.7. Knocks a few tenths off. That'll only get him 1 spot, but it's 1 spot higher he didn't have before. So That leads us to our qualifying order, and it is Millward on the pole today. He'll start next to Gernot Friesche in second, with Ove Trangerade, a surprising third from him. Andreas Henkel, P4, outside of that second row. Kochi briefly held the pole and then slipped down to fifth, with Jukka Tolvanen in P6. Matthias Havdahl will start P7, Vaskilampi 8th, and Thomas Torp in 9th. Seppa surprisingly far down in 10th.
Timothy Reed will be starting off in 11th, followed by Michael de Turk in 12th. Last Olsen will be 13th, followed by Paul Williams and Pablo Suarez. Barry West will be 16th, followed by Keith Herner and Joe Walker in 18th. And rounding out your 20-car field, it is Dylan Freckleton and Vincent Chavante.
So 20 cars here in Spain for round 2, and hot conditions here today, 109 degrees Fahrenheit that the drivers are dealing with. So they're going to have to work on that slipping and sliding. 43 Celsius for those on the metric scale. And have to wonder if that's going to make a difference as this race goes on with so many long, fast corners.
Yeah, it very well could, although I will say the tires on these old Lotus 79s definitely pretty sturdy, so I don't anticipate a whole lot of tire wear, maybe a little bit of slipping and sliding at the end, but not over the course of 32 laps.
Not many drivers have gridded up, though they do still have about a minute time. And again, it's open setup, so they might be tweaking now that they've had some practice and the qualifying, to kind of understand how they want the cars to handle out there with these weather conditions. Those at the sharp end of the grid tend to fine-tune things just to get those last few tenths of performance over the course of a race. I think we're just waiting on our pole sitter, Millward, Seppa, Olsen, Williams, and Freckleton now. And it looks like pole sitter Alex Millward now out there. So we should be getting going pretty soon. Dylan Freckleton, the last of them, starting from 19th. Only 2 cars failing to set a time here in qualifying, as you've only got about 10 seconds left. So Freckleton might be starting from pit lane. We'll keep an eye on that. And clock now comes down to 0. Freckleton's out there. So we'll get all 20 starters on the grid. That means the engines start to rev. The lights come up, and the green flag is out. Millward not looking so hot off the line. Friesche already up the inside of him, as blasting from the third row. Nicola Kochi outgunned Trangerade 3 wide behind them. Henkel to the inside of that. Friesche breaks a little bit early, gives up the chance at the lead. Kochi into third, Henkel into fourth.
Oh, that was very close with Vaskilampi. I thought for sure there was going to be contact. A little bit of a checkup there coming through for Friesche. That really checked up Nicola Kochi as well. But Friesche now starting to gain a little bit of ground on our pole sitter Millward.
Still almost 3 wide. Back for 5th place is Jukka Tolvanen. And Trangerade are still fighting for that position. Now they get 2 wide behind them. Same thing. Oh, ducking to the inside of Tolvanen. That was Havdahl, and he's going to get the spot as a lot of wheel spin exiting for Tolvanen scuppers him.
Yeah, that was a very ambitious move there for Havdahl, but it paid off in spades for him. Catches a little bit of that inside sausage curve, though. That's going to give a bit of a run back to Jukka Tolvanen as they make their way up the hill towards Kampsa. Both cars a little bit squirrely. These tires not up to temperature quite yet.
That was Williams in that big accident back in there. Not sure who T-boned him. I'm trying to check. It looks like Timothy Reed, who just plowed into the side of him. Everybody else managed to scatter and get away. Engine blowing smoke. His day is done, sadly. So up at the front, we ride on board with the Italian with the great start off the line from 5th to 3rd as we complete the first lap. Millward and Friesche are the 2 ahead of him.
Oh, and Havdahl's had a problem. Havdahl's sliding off into the kitty litter on the exit of New Holland.
Wow. So a number of bad starts for a few drivers here, but otherwise seems to be clean. Down into L for the second time. Not under threat for Friesche. That's usually both in real life and here in the sim where we see the most passes. How easy do you think it's going to be able to use that slipstream to get up on top of them?
Well, you've got to be a little bit careful. You know, I referenced Hovdal going off there. What basically happened is he got caught up in the aero wash and just ran wide through New Holland. What you've really got to do, Joe, is you've got to treat that like you're running an oval. Find a little bit of clean air to be able to get the run down the main straight. There should be enough straight line speed to be able to get that pass done with the draft, but you've got to make sure you nail New Holland before you try to do it.
Hovdal's incident, certainly an unusual one, wondering if he had some sort of hardware failure or software failure on the car as it just speared off the track. In the meantime, Millward about 4/10 ahead of Freesia, 4 more tenths back to Kochi. Don't forget about Hankel, who got a great start and got himself into 4th. Trangarade behind him, trying to give chase. Doesn't seem the car is that great at the start of the race, though.
No, it doesn't, but these cars are very affected by fuel loads. As the fuel loads wear off, they will get a lot lighter, a lot looser, a lot easier to wrangle around the circuit, so don't count anything out quite yet in terms of passing.
Kochi's looking pretty good here. Freesia setting the fastest lap of the race that time by, but Nicola's going to run out of straightaway, braking hard down into Elf, swinging back and forth through that opening chicane, and they're continuing to pull away from Hankel behind them as it's starting to become a 3-horse race at the front.
Yeah, Hankel just doesn't quite look like he has the speed. He was 4/10 off on that last lap. These 3 up front, Millward, Freesia, and Kochi, just setting the pace here. Everybody kind of running their own race. Nobody looking too overly aggressive with only 3 laps in the books.
Ooh, little mistake, though, from Freesia coming out of Seat. Puts him off of Millward into the clutches of Kochi down into Vert. As they climb back up the hill towards Campsa, Kochi can't seem to hang. He starts to lose a 10th or 2. And here comes Freesia right back at it. Regains all that he lost on Alex.
Yeah, Freesia's got a lot of speed in that car. I wonder if he may be running a little bit more downforce, help him get through those corners a little bit faster. Loses some time, though, there on the exit of La Caja. So that, very interesting on that car. I'm not sure how to interpret it, Joe.
Oh, back in Pablo Suarez. He's going to have a pass to the inside of Freckleton, or at least try it. Maybe around the outside of Boxabadell. No, he's going to get shut down there off the exit. Freckleton retaining 12th place.
And tried to get a little overly aggressive there through Europe car, and it didn't really work there for Suarez. Oh, but we've got a pass. That is Kochi diving down the inside of Freesia into Alf and makes it stick.
Just got himself a good exit off of New Holland. So there's our first test to see what you need to try and make the pass. Oh, we've had a problem with Hankel behind them. Hankel's lost a ton of positions, and I'm not entirely sure what happened with him. Let's see if we can get a replay of the 5.
Joe, I think this was just a little bit of driver error coming down into Elf. Maybe carried a little bit too much speed into the corner. Yep, there you saw it just start to step out on him, and he decided to slam on the brakes rather than trying to catch it and keep going and run the risk of those infamous tail slappers that these Lotus 79s are known for.
He sat there for some time, though. I'm not sure why he had that long pause, unless he's got engine stall turned on and had to try and get it refired. But whatever the case, he's now in 10th, trying to chase Laust Olsen as they approach La Caja, and he's going to stick his nose in, but he's not quite close enough.
No, he's not. Maybe just trying to get Laust to fall off the action a little bit. There's that Suarez-Freckleton battle we've been checking in on. You can see Suarez, whoa, massive close in under braking.
He wants that spot, having started this in 15th. He's up 2 already, looking for a 3rd. Barry West just in front of him, up 5 positions from the start of this race. Not the greatest of exits from Freckleton, but looks like Suarez won't have enough of a pull to try and get this one done here. In front of them is that Hankel once again. It is indeed. He's going to finally get the job done on Olsen.
Yeah, just a simple draft move there. We ride on boards with the Scandinavian driver Laust Olsen. You can see Henkel starting to pull away a little bit. That car obviously having some more speed in it, but he has got a whole lot of work cut out for him. About 6 seconds up the road to his next competitor, Michael de Turk.
A little wide there in the Repsol from Henkel, but he manages it. And yeah, it looks like this is where things really require him to put his foot down and chase. As we look just in front of Turk to Seppa, where the 9 is trying to overtake him as best he can, but just a little too far back, just in front of him as well. You can see between Vascalampi and Tolanen, things staying tight. Running down into Lakaja.
And nobody really being able to make too much of a move going into Lakaja there. Nobody really wanting to put the car on it. We saw Suarez try to do it earlier, but it looks like the best area to make that move is going to be going down the main straightaway right now. Unfortunately, I don't think anybody's really quite close enough to make that move stick at this point.
As you watch from Suarez, still tight on the heels of the 12. This is looking pretty good so far. Oh yeah, I think he's going to get a nice tow down the pitch straight as he follows in the tire tracks of the number 12. But the 12 also getting a tow. Barry West in front of him, not looking too fast in a straight line, and he's going to try and outbrake him down into Elf. He's going to get the job done. I thought he'd be passed, but it's Freckleton on the offense instead.
Very good move there from Freckleton. Very late under braking. Loses a little bit there on the exit of Renault, but able to gather it back up under him. I'm very impressed there with the number 12.
Same here. So 11th place for Dylan. Next up, going to be Laust Olsen. Up at the very front, we saw the pass between Kochi and Frisha, but Nicola lost a little time in that to Alex Millward. And he's got about a second and some change over the rest of them. That's been ebbing and flowing, but hasn't really come down to where it was before.
No, Millward rather is able to hold that relatively well, although it looks like Kochi's starting to get a little bit of a reel. And able to go about 0.2 of a second faster on that last lap. He's able to cut that gap down a little bit. I think this is going to be a bit of a game of inches. He has just got to focus in, but we're going to jump back here. This is Jukka Tolanen.
Yeah, he's chasing Ove Trangerade for 4th. And Ove started one position up from here, and it gets very close down into Elf, but it looks like Tolanen won't have enough speed to try and get the job done. Still, he hounds him coming through Renault. Sometimes you see sneaky passes into Repsol. Let's watch.
Well, he's certainly close enough if he wants to try a little bit of a dive, but oh no, he doesn't decide to go for it. Tries to go for a little bit of a more narrow line, though. There is Trangerade. Let's see what he's got. Vascalampi trying to do anything that he can, just not able to get it done. I think he's going to have to wait for a little bit of a draft to make it work.
Looking good under braking down into Vert. He's certainly putting the pressure on. Look at how close he's able to follow. Other drivers have been struggling trying to do that. Loses some time through Kampsa. But as they come down to the braking, is he going to show his nose once again? No, not as good into Lakaja, although he got a big slide from Trangerade there.
Yeah, that could hurt him a little bit. But we ride on board with Freckleton. Freckleton taking a look now to the inside of Olsen. Not really a full commit to that move, just enough to try to see if he could scare him off a little bit. But he's got to be a little bit careful because behind him, Pablo Suarez was able to get by Barry West, and we've seen that that car's got some speed, so he can't spend too much time fighting it out.
So what can he do on the Scandinavian? Coming off of the final corner of New Holland. Doesn't look like he got the run that he needs. And here comes Suarez, closing it down to within half a second between himself and Freckleton. But Freckleton now looking, he did get a good run, much faster in a straight line, and he's going to dive it in. Olsen tries to fight back. I don't think there's quite enough. He might lose 2 spots. Oh, and he gets rudely shoved to the side.
Oh, little bit of a getting an elbows move out there. Oh, but that's Suarez running very wide there. I think that's going to give the position back to Barry West. But no, it's not. He's going to try to fight now with Olsen around the outside of Repsol. It's a slightly off-camber corner. So hard to carry momentum, but Suarez does a good job. Dives it down back into Seon, and oh, it's a crossover.
Olsen wise to the move. He saw him send it in, just ducked underneath, and that'll get him back into 10th. He's proven a hard nut to crack.
Really is impressed with that defense from West. Very, very plucky holding it around the outside. We're going to focus back up at the leaders, though. This is Kochi. He's got that gap down to about 0.5 of a second.
So he is able to run down Millward. So without Rinna here today, it seems like maybe it's going to be the Italian who tries to hold that torch now. Can Millward try and deny him of that? Look at the lap time difference between them, consistently faster.
Yeah, he's just slowly but surely snaking him in. Very hard for him, it looks like, to get that pass made through the drafting zone. A little bit of a different line coming out of Elf. Wonder if he's just trying to carry a little bit more momentum. Ooh, that's almost wide there, but he's able to keep it together.
Really lose time, it seemed. In fact, that almost looked like a little bit of the faster line. He's getting within 0.3 of a second now. I think by next lap, we could see Millward under serious threat for an overtake.
I think so as well, although lost a little bit of time there going through Seat did Kochi. Let's stay here. Let's see if he's able to keep some good momentum up through Kampsa. This will be telling if he's able to get the good run. Not really too much of a lift there, so he's definitely got the car working well in areas you need high downforce.
Oh, closing in big time, maybe swinging a little wide there through Lakaija. The hands look very calm, though, I have to say. Not a lot of movement.
Well, that really is the best way to drive this car, Joe. Yes, you can get it a little sideways and have some fun with it, but you won't minimize any of the movement you have to do. Somebody told me when I first started racing this, you do not want the knuckles on the sim to really ever go past the first line of rivets. If you can avoid that, that is the best thing. But look at this. Here comes Kochi. Is he going to go for the move? Oh, thinks about it, decides better of it.
Very close, though. He could get another run. Very different lines between them. Is Kochi going to try and pull an over-under around Renault? Almost looked like he was. Swinging out wide. Doesn't pay off if that was the case. This is all still happening about a second ahead of Gernot Friesche. If they start to go side by side, he could be brought back into the fray.
Well, especially considering Friesche set the fastest lap of the race last time out, so they've got to be very, very aware of that. Loses a little bit of time again through Seat. That doesn't appear to be one of Kochi's best corners, but let's see if he's able to gain up again under braking into Lakaija.
Just another 10th back, unfortunately, in that dirty air, having a tough time trying to hang as close as he can in the background, which we jump to now. Tolinen has been all over Ove Trangerade, and Trangerade's actually going to defend this time, covering off the apex, and Yuka has no chance to try and cut underneath.
Very savvy move there from Ove Trangerade. He knew that that over-under was coming and just parked the car at the apex. I think lifted off the throttle a little bit to make sure that Tolinen couldn't get a good move there, but he's got to be very careful. It looks like Tolinen's got a good slipstream here. He may have a look going down into Elf.
Yeah, I think this is definitely going to be a pass between the two of them. No defense this time. He holds the outside. Tolinen going to take it down to the first apex. Is he looking for the second apex? Here is Ove. And I think the answer is yes. Can he cut across? No. The car is there inside of Renault, the critical long right-hander. And there goes Tolinen through.
And you can see there Trangerade trying to look for a little over-under, tries to be very late under braking going into Repsol, and it's not going to work. But that's all allowed Michael DeTurk to get very, very close behind them. DeTurk had to lift a little bit, I think, coming on the exit of Repsol, but they are still line astern here for fourth place.
I believe that's the 6 of Vascalampi there with them. And he is getting awful close in that blue and white Ligier. Ooh, and a bad exit from Trangerade. The only thing that's going to save him is that Kampsa is right there. He could have another shot down in Lakaija. Let's see.
Joe, Kochi's got the move on the leader.
Indeed. Down into Lakaija. He's got the inside of the next one. He did the long way around of the left-hander, inside of the right-hander, and he is through. But will he have a fight back coming into the first corner, into Elf? No, it's not looking like a great exit off of New Holland. Let's take a look at the replay of that pass. Fantastic stuff from the 3.
Absolutely incredible. There you see coming out of the exit of Kamsa, set him up perfectly. Very smart there, Millward defending the inside. Kochi decides to take the super wide line, carrying a lot of speed around the outside and just making it stick, and knowing that for Banks Sabadell that it's going to turn back to him. Very, very savvy move there from your now leader, Nicola Kochi.
And shows what I know, he did catch him. Millward ran down Kochi into the first corner. They were side by side through Elf, but you can see it settled out once again in favor of the Italian. Now the UK&I driver has the shoe on the other foot. Can he get by?
Well, let's see if he is. He's certainly not letting Kochi slip away too much. Frisha only about 0.4 of a second behind as well, so I think he is just sort of waiting in the wings here to see what develops up in front of him.
Their time running line astern certainly helped them, because they're about 5 seconds ahead of Jukka Tolinen back and forth. The top 3 still retain a handy gap to the rest of the field. You can only see glimpses of them in the background trying to give chase. So last time, okay, let's watch Millward, because he looked lightning in a straight line. Let's see if he does have this thing trimmed out.
You can see just how much input he was having to put into that car coming around New Holland. 160 miles an hour. He does have a little bit of a speed advantage on both Kochi and Frisha. Frisha still being in the draft as well. Carries a little bit too much speed there into the first section of Elf. That's going to hurt him.
Okay, he was about 4 miles an hour faster down the straightaway than Kochi was. Seems maybe he's got this set up to be as slippery as possible. Unfortunately, on a track with a lot of turns, he doesn't want it to slip too much like that. As Frisha now sizes him up. Is he going to send one into Seat? No.
No, I think that just wasn't the area that he wanted to do it, but let's watch him here. He's going to come through Worth and up through Kamsa. Got to make sure he gets this absolutely right. Nice flip of the throttle. Big mistake there from Millward. If Frisha can hold this right, no, he is not going to try to go too wide through Kamsa, thank goodness. Oh, but that mistake, I think, may have cost or may have saved Alex Millward for the time being.
Yeah, my goodness. He wanted to try that inside, but the car was all over the place, and that caused him to fall back. So, man, Millward, who looked cool as a cucumber in the early stages of this race, is finding himself suddenly losing pace. You talked about at the very start, maybe he set it up for the beginning rather than the end of the race.
Certainly could have. And the other thing to really keep in mind, Joe, is the fact that a lot of driving these cars in particular, is so much rhythm. You want to get into a good feel the car out. If you get thrown off that a little bit, hey, anything can happen.
Jump a little bit farther back now that fight at the front has settled out, where Vascalampi and Trangarade are sorting P5. Trangarade having been overtaken by Tolinen. Looks like Vascalampi now likes his chances. He'll need to get closer than this.
He'll need to try to at any rate. Looks like he was able to get a pretty good run there through Renault, going up to Repsol. Not really able to make the move. Little bit of a bobble there up ahead from Ove Trangrade. You saw that rear end trying to step out ever so slightly on him. Breaking now into Seat. Very, very close behind. I think Vascalampi may fancy his chances going down into Lakaja.
As they go through Vert, once again, seems to be a trouble spot for a number of drivers, just slip it a little bit wide. The Trangrade saved by the slipstream, as Hankel is trying to go side by side with Olsen. Olsen defending, but not successfully. There goes Andreas into 11th.
And remember, Andreas had a great qualifying here. He was all the way up the grid, and he was in 4th and had that bobble at the beginning, so that really put him on the back foot. So he is basically reclaiming where he should be.
Had some problems with Vincent Chavette. He's gone into the pits and it looks like he's retired, so his day is done. Fans of Paul Williams, I said his day was done, but apparently I was wrong. He repaired the engine. He is running, but we're down to 18 remaining cars. Down to the inside goes Vascalampi. Gives a scare to the Norwegian. Maybe looking for an over-under here. He's going to get the wide entry into Renault, but that is just too long of a corner.
It is indeed. Just trying to find a way past Ove Trangarade here. Let's see if he's able to get a better run through Worth. Really liking to take a little bit more of an aggressive early apex to a lot of these corners. I think that's a bit of trying to fight off that dirty air coming from the 11 in front of him.
We hop on board with Vascalampi. The Turk is continuing to close in on these two. The second they go side by side, that's going to open the door for him. I just see Paul Williams heading into the pits as a side note, so I wonder if he's finally done trundling around trying to get some safety rating here today. No attack into Lakaija that time from Timu. I wonder if it's only a matter of time, though, before he tries to get past the number 11.
Yeah, I certainly think so. He's got more speed than Trangarade does. He's got a little bit more feel for the car. He's just got to get the perfect exit here out of New Holland. Let's see if he's able to do it. Runs a little bit wide, bumps up ever so slightly. It's going to get the gap down to about 0.3 of a second. Trying to close in. Speed advantage starting to come in for Vascalampi, but he's going to have to make a late move if he wants one at all, and I don't think he's going for it.
Halfway mark for our drivers. So still a good chunk of the race left to go. Still looking quite good down the front stretch. If Timu can get himself just that little bit better of a launch, he could try and get by Ove Trangarade. We're on board looking over the Ford Cosworth of the Norwegian at the nearby Finn. And he's been hovering at about this distance of a car length or two for, boy, 5-6 laps now.
He has big slide there for Vascalampi, though. The rear end of the car wanting to step out a little bit. It's one of the things I talked about when the fuel load starts to get a little bit lighter. It does tend to lift the ride height up ever so slightly. Side skirts on these Lotus 79s, they will continue to create that ground effect, pulling the car into the ground, but you just lose a little bit of mechanical grip sometimes when the car isn't nearly as heavy.
Well, we've got an opportunity. Wonder if we could give some love to a hard charger in this race. The number 12 of Dylan Freckleton is up 10 positions from where he began. Qualified 19th. Actually, he didn't qualify, I should say. Yeah, no, didn't set a lap in qualifying. But at a track where it's notoriously hard to overtake, he's been picking them off one by one.
Yeah, he's been doing a really good job. We saw some of those late moves. Oh, but Vascalampi's got the move, trying to go down into the first corner. They're going to be side by side.
He's got the inside through Renault. That's all he needs. Job done, at least for now. As long as he can hold on to it, doesn't go too wide. Will he cover him off down into Repsol? Trangarade sees an open door, tries to stick his foot in, but he gets shut.
Oh, but I think that no, it was all right there for Vascalampi. He's able to cover it off, and so now he has dispatch with his nemesis in the number 11. He'll able to start to move his way forward. Got a lot of time to make up here to Jukka Tolonen, though.
Surprised the Turk didn't close in more behind him. He's down to about a second, but he's got a lot to make up if he wants to attack Trangarade. All it'll take is one mistake from the Norwegian, and I have a feeling that the New Yorker will be right on top of things. So looking up at the front, Millward with Freesia about half a second behind. Gernot has gathered him back up, but not able to make the pass quite like Nicola did.
No, not at all. And some of that may come down to what we were talking about earlier, Joe, that better straight line speed for Alex Millward. You can see there as we focus in on this battle with Millward and Freesia, though, that is Kochi right in front of them. Gap is only about 1.1 seconds as they reach the end of the straightaway. So Kochi's still very much having to drive here on his toes, make sure he makes no mistakes.
I'm still massively impressed with the way that he has advanced and shown himself to be not just a potential winner, but I'm wondering if a championship could be on the cards with the way he ran last round with a podium and now looking for a victory in some heavy competition, getting awful close to the rear wing. Gernot Frische, with multiple championships under his belt, is trying to return to the top spot. And now that he's got his qualifying in order, it seems that he is a serious contender too.
Indeed, Joe. And one of the things to keep an eye on with Frische is because he does know what it is like to win a championship, he may not be as overly aggressive here towards Alex Millward as possible. He doesn't want to run the risk of a DNF. He wants to try to get maximum points, so that may be preventing him from sending a full-on bonsai move here at some point.
Sticks with it. Let's stay here, but Thomas Torp, another one to enter pit lane. We're down to 17 drivers as Williams has returned to the track. Okay, Frische has been showing his nose here. He's trying to get into the head of Millward. And there it is, last 3 laps. He's been doing that same little move, just getting in his mirrors.
I think that's a good call for Frische. I mean, he's not, like I said, trying to push the issue or trying to really get himself into a position where he's going to maybe wreck the car. But if he can force Millward into a mistake, especially under braking in one of the heavy braking zones like Lakaja or Elf, could really help him to net that position. And he'll be just close enough that he may be able to do something on Kochi by race's end.
Oh, let's go to Hankel. He might have a spot on hand, but it looks like not quite, as Suarez takes it down to the apex and says no. He'll retain 10th position. But remember, Andreas out of position himself. He started in 4th. He's on a climb forward.
Ooh, is indeed a mistake there from Suarez coming through Repsol. That's going to allow for Hankel to get a little bit of a move here. Suarez very deftly covers it off, though. There he goes. They're going to stay the same way.
So he holds on for the time being, but he's poking and prodding, getting very close under, braking down into Vert as they head through Kampsa. Can he hold on here? Oh, this looks really good. He is right on top of him.
Is indeed. Is he going to have a look at the move going into Lakaja? And Lakaja, yes, he does, but Suarez able to carry that momentum around the outside. Little bit of a chop there almost to Hankel. Hankel's not going to be able to get it done.
Small update, Williams has retired again, and Thomas Torp is officially done as he has left the server. Timothy Reed in pit lane. I'm not sure what the reason is. I checked and I couldn't find an incident from him, but he's appears to be taking a few repairs as we watch this fight for the top 10. Speed looking good at the end of the straight for Andreas, but not good enough.
Yeah, not quite there to make a move with 13 laps to go here. I think that's very much a situation where he doesn't want to try to go for an all-out move quite yet. Carries a lot of speed there through Renault. That really let him try to catch up a little bit, but not quite close enough. Suarez doesn't look like he make the same mistake there that he did on the last lap through Repsol.
We might have to come back to Frische because he's suddenly just climbing over the gearbox of Alex Millward. Almost had a shot into Lakaja, but came back to the racing line. If he can get the exit off of New Holland, this is going to be the best chance we've seen for him yet.
It most certainly will, but remember, we keep talking about it, that straight line speed advantage from Alex Millward. They come off of the corner. He's already got about 3 miles an hour more. Now as the draft starts to pick up, speeds equalize. I don't think he's got it. I genuinely think, Joe, but Hankel has had a spin.
Oh, the hard work thrown away yet again. It was another attempt down into the inside as he's going to go side by side with Olsen on his return to the track. This is where it happens. Eventually, you brake hard enough, the car just won't accept it, and I think that's what happened here.
Yeah, it just takes a little bit too much speed into there, catches the inside curbing. That'll upset the weight of the car a little bit, and all of those factors combined, just a little mini spin there for Hankel. Didn't cost him a position, but Olsen there definitely trying something. We're going to jump back here with Frische.
He's still holding onto the tail of Millward, and he's got a number of laps to try and get this done. as long as he doesn't make any more mistakes and can keep within range. But you pointed out, man, that straight line speed seems to be the real kicker. Alex maybe making a master stroke on setup calls there today, because that could save him second.
It very well could. And I think for Frisha, the flip of that is then he knows he's got to try to make the pass in a little bit of an unsuspecting area. Maybe we see something going into Repsol or Seat. He may even try to make the pass going into Bank Sabadell. Anything he can do where it's not just a quick straight line blast, but a little bit more of an intensive finesse part of the circuit, that may be his best opportunity.
He took another little poke there into Elf, as he was within the slipstream, and so he was starting to toe in. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough. Here's where you were talking about, out of Renault up to Repsol. I don't think he's close enough, though.
Yeah, it doesn't exactly look like it. Starts to close in a little bit under braking, but still not enough. Millward able to carry enough speed on the corner exit. They both slide over to the right for Elf, right, or for Seat right there. Wide run for Millward. Frisha tried to take a little bit of a counter line there. Didn't exactly pay off for him.
Got right up underneath him, the nose nearly touching the gearbox. And he falls off at perhaps a critical time. So he's got to make up another tenth or two to get within striking range. And next time by is also 10 to go.
It is indeed. Again, lots of closing up there from Frisha during braking. Able to carry a little bit more speed there through Bank Sabadell, but I don't know if he is ever going to be close enough to really make this move work on the main straight with all of that speed that Millward seems to have.
Oh, he chucked it in this time, though. This is looking much better. Millward picking it up to 155, 160 miles an hour, but here comes Frisha. This is the closest he's been on the front stretch. He's going to show his nose again. Is it a serious one? No, not quite.
No, just couldn't get it done, but trying to force Millward off a little bit, and that shallower entry there for Frisha really cost him some time. The gap's now ballooning back out to about 0.4 of a second.
This is, again, the battle for second place. This is about 1.7 behind Kochi. Kind of makes me wonder if Frisha's being held up a bit here. If he was free, does he have the pace to try and catch the Italian?
Well, looking at their best lap times, Frisha is about 0.05 of a second off of Kochi's best time. He was actually faster last time out, as there you see Frisha kicking up a little bit of dirt for good measure on the entry to Lakaja.
This is a torrid pace that these guys are running. As we jump back to Turk, he is up 5 spots from where he began this race and is now sizing up Ove Trangerade. The Honda-liveried Lotus is susceptible, but it seems that the Williams car not interested quite yet.
Yeah, not ready to make the move quite yet. Maybe we could see something down the main straightaway from him if he's able to keep that up. Whoa, especially with that wiggle there from Trangerade.
He likes to run sideways, but that's not going to help him a lot here. Turk off of the final corner. He stays right in the slipstream, following him down the pit straight. He's starting to gain time, getting closer, getting closer. He's going to look for it. Can he get side by side? No, but a little bit off the apex. Trangerade gives him space. Will that hamper him? No, good run from the Norwegian. He'll retain 6th.
And I think he was aided there a little bit by Michael de Turk doing his best Ove Trangerade impression. Getting a little bit sideways, coming through Elf. Just cost him those couple of tenths, but look how he's able to catch back up again.
We've been having quite a bit of cloud cover here in the last couple minutes. That's brought the track temperatures down a number of degrees, 98 Fahrenheit on the track surface now, up to 100, up from 100 plus a little bit earlier. So wonder if this is offering a little more grip. Maybe the drivers can push that a little bit harder.
Well, and it's what they'll need with the lighter fuel loads. I'm sure to be a welcome thing for all of these drivers. There we continue to watch, though, Trangerade and de Turk not getting the run he would have liked to out of Kampsa, so he's not going to be able to make the move here.
They come up to Bank Sabadell. This is looking a little bit more like what we're used to here at Barcelona. Drivers somewhat stuck, but this does give us a lot of tension between those closely matched. And Nicola Cocci would like less tension as the gap has come down. Wasn't it 1.7 a little bit ago? It's now 1.1.
I think it was all the way up near 2 seconds, Joe. Yeah, Cocci definitely getting reeled in a little bit. Last couple of laps, Millward has been about 0.2 of a second faster as it starts to come down. Yeah, there you can see those last couple of laps losing about 0.9 of a second from lap 22 on is Nicola Cocci.
Not sure what's happening. Is he managing things, or is he starting to struggle with the car in the dying stages? Gets it back up to about 1.3, 1.4 in the last few corners. Could be just that Cocci's making, or Millward's making use of that straight line speed everywhere he can to chop away and is losing it back in the corners.
Yeah, it certainly could be. We'll have to keep an eye on the lap time this time out, though. I think another big part of it is Millward's not having to drive as much in his rearview mirrors. Freach has dropped back to about 0.6 of a second back of the number 7, and I think that is certainly helping him sort of calm down and keep his eyes focused ahead.
This time across the line, a 30.031 personal best for Cocci. Millward 30.0122. So Cocci will get the fastest lap that time by and pulls marginally away from Alex.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what it is. We're going to jump back, though, here. This is Deturk. He may have a bit of a run on Triangulate. He's going to dive to the inside.
Breaking hard into the corner. He's still got to get it done. And Triangulate is braver. Oh, slipping around, trying to hold on to it. Around he goes. Michael Deturk not only doesn't get the spot, but he loses 7th to Seppa.
Oh, absolutely heartbreaking for Deturk. We saw it earlier, just carrying a hair too much speed into the corner. Watch on board. There you see it. That rear end just wants to give way, tries to catch it and gather it up back under him. But as I said, Joe, when these cars get into a tank sliper like that, it is so difficult to gain back.
Unfortunate to see for Deturk, who falls to 8th, and I'm not sure if he's got the time to chase down Seppa. 7 laps, and he has about 3 seconds to make up, unfortunately. Last time through was quicker for Cocci, but this time I'm thinking it might go to Millward because it has once again come down. As we watch our top 3 come to the line, it is going to be a 29.777 for Cocci. Millward 29.5.
Oh, they are pushing a big run off into the grass there. Cocci just losing a little bit of eyesight of where he was. Yeah, this is turning into a little bit of a race at the front as they make their exit out of Elf. I'm seeing on live timing and scoring that it is down to under a second, 0.933 between Millward and Cocci.
Riding on board with Alex Millward. Still 1.1 seconds back, trying to chase down the leader. And going a little wide down through Seat, as we are to 6 laps to go at this stage. Still getting so much cloud cover here late in the race. I'm sure the drivers are absolutely loving it. Temperatures continuing to drop as they get a nice little bit of coolness in the Spanish heat. Coming around to 5 to go here in just a moment. These are 3 of the best we have ever seen in this car. So why don't we hop on board with one of the winningest drivers. DJ, why don't you talk us around the lap with Gernot Friesche, the number 1.
Well, all right, Joe, as we said, these are relatively flat out corners there. So he is going to be right there on the limit. You see the little bit of counter steer he's having to give just to make sure the car stays right. We'll start out a lap, though, here on the main straightaway. This is just that straight blast. You want to keep the car over to the left here, and you want to start braking at about the 100-meter board. Now, bring it down to about 2nd or 3rd gear here. Try to keep your inputs as smooth as possible. Now you climb up the hill. You may need to do a little bit of feathering, and look at the way that he's constantly putting some inputs into that car, making sure that he can keep it as straight as possible. Brake for Repsol right under the bridge. Take it around to the right, start low and bring it out wide then. Now we take it over to the right again. That's a quick turnover to get down into Worth. Make sure you clip that apex and clip it late. It's a lot longer of a corner than you expect. Now we come down the hill up into Worth. This is a brush braking corner. You can carry a lot of speed through there, but watch out for that big sausage curve on the right. Now, Campsa, absolutely flat out. If you can get it right, got to put a little bit of counter steer in there to make sure that the rear end doesn't slip away. A little bit of a mini breath here before you get back on. Just before the 50-meter board, braking down into Lakaja and carry a lot of speed into the interior of that corner. Bring it back to the left again for Bank Sabadell. Start it tight on the inside and let the car naturally run wide before you get it all the way out into those rumble strips and bring it back flat out here through Europe car and flat out again through New Holland.
Had a couple moments out there while we were watching that. Turk had another spin, didn't lose a position, and Suarez and Hankel had a little bit of a side-by-side. But look at this. Here comes Frisha after I thought he was losing touch with Millward because Alex got within 0.5 of a second of Kochi at one point. It has swapped around, and he's got to go from attack to defense.
Yeah, and I think for Millward, that may just be a little bit of over-aggressive driving from him, you know, just trying to overdrive the car. The Lotus is very, very sensitive to that. If you do overdrive the car, it's just those sort of micro slides that you can get around the corners that will cost you hundredths and tenths on the lap.
Oh boy, he is keeping him honest. I'm having a hard time really reading what's going on with our front runners, because for a second I thought Kochi had this under control, then he got caught. Now suddenly he's pulling back away, and things have totally changed hands. I'm not sure if drivers are struggling or if this is just the ebb and flow of them pushing to the absolute limit.
Yeah, me too. It's kind of all up in the air, and it may be a little bit of a combination, Joe. The other thing that we have to do keep in mind is it may be a little bit of that track temperature you talked about. It's down to about 95 degrees Fahrenheit, and that's going to make the car perform a little bit differently. And so it may be a situation that as it ticked down, it really started to affect driver handling.
A second spin at the same corner, 2 laps in a row for De Turk. Let's take a look at the replay. I wonder if, because both times the thing just swapped ends right there, exactly the same way. And remember, he had that spin trying to overtake Trangrade. I wonder if the rear tires are shot.
Yeah, they could be a little bit shot, and it could be, again, like I talked about, that light fuel load. You've got to be really, really careful when you get into those light fuel situations. The car gets very twitchy, and it's very, very easy to spin the tires. Just remember how much horsepower is coming into the rear end of these cars. It is so much. And so it's very tricky sometimes to get it right, but oh, here comes Hankel.
So 2 of the drivers we've been battling all race long now meet in a sort of reverse trajectory from one another. De Turk does fend him off, but the way he's been struggling with the car, and look at that, he does not have speed through Renault. He knows it. He tries to defend the inside, coming down at a Repsol. Could there be an over-under here? He's looking for it, and I think Hankel might have it.
Oh, that was some great driving from Hankel, but De Turk not done. He's going to try to stay on the inside, going down into Sayat. He's going to have the advantage. Can Hankel carry a little bit more speed into Worth? He's not backing down quite yet. Almost banging wheels through that left-hander, and finally Hankel has to back off. But here comes Suarez.
Ooh, Suarez liked his chances, but not enough to risk it into Campsa. He had a front row seat to all that back and forth, but just wasn't able to capitalize. We're down to 2 laps to go now as we once again take a look at the leaders, and once again, it is down to half a second.
This is getting very interesting up front. Very strange indeed. Millward starting to get that push if he can.
Will this get spicy on the last lap? Can Millward get within attacking range? He hasn't been there since he got overtaken by Kochi. But it's one thing to catch, it's another to pass, and we've already seen how tough it is trying to make it stick.
Very, very much so. But remember, that lighter fuel load could help him, but he's not going to have a whole lot of time to do it. Here they go into the braking zone. It looks like it's going to come back a little bit to Prix. He's able to get that gap down a little bit, so maybe that's where the momentum is shifting.
Hankel doing the same thing all over again through Repsol and Seat, except this time he's going to have the inside coming down into Seat. Can he get the job done? It looks like Deter's going to fight him the whole way. Too wide through vert doesn't usually work out. He knows it. He finally gives up the ghost.
Yeah, he's not going to do it, but Pablo Suarez behind them is looking very hungry as well. We may see a big, big move coming down here into Lakaja. Oh, maybe not. They separate out a little bit coming through Kampsa.
White flag waves for Kochi, Millward, and Prix up at the front. Back up to a second between P1 and P2. So we continue to watch these three working their way, coming towards that white flag.
Yeah, they're going to take it on this timeout. You can see there Deter taking a little bit of an alternate line, trying to minimize any of the aero wash. Oh, and that's Deter spinning!
Oh, the end of a bad day for Michael after it had such promise. And that will free up Hankel and Suarez not to have to fight for the remainder. And I think something happened to Laust Olsen as well in the final corner. Looks like he spun out, unfortunately. But this man, Nicola Kochi, running an incredible race, qualifying 5th. Great job on that front, but then boosting his way forward, eventually taking the lead away from our pole sitter. And since then has withstood the pressure, kept the pace up, kept the mistakes down, and that is going to put the Italian on the top step of the podium. Nicola Kochi wins here in Spain. Millward will settle for second as Prix gets himself another podium and valuable points. We look at Seppa now.
Yeah, Seppa trying to close in here on Ove Trangarate. He's only got a couple of corners to do it. Trangarate taking a little bit of a defensive line there through Europe, or through Banco Sabadell, there we go. And now they're going to come through New Holland. This is now or never here for Seppa.
Looks like it's going to be never, at least for this race, as Trangarate retains 6th place. Seppa will finish in 7th. The rest of them trickling across the line. All of our finishers will finish on the lead lap. Everybody who didn't was a DNF today. Reed, Torp, Chavette, Williams, and Hovdahl, sadly. Barry West among the last of them, just trying to chase Keith Herner home, but he's about a second behind, unfortunately. So let's take a quick break. We'll come back with the official results as well as driver interviews. So don't go away.
iRacing is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all around the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics, engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 170,000 members, iRacing works in partnership with renowned motorsports organizations like NASCAR to deliver virtual races based on the real-life NASCAR Cup Series, as well as many other series on the NASCAR ladder. iRacing also features team racing, providing a variety of options for members to create and manage their own teams. Race with friends or real-world teammates in full-length endurance events like the 24 Hours of Daytona, Spa 24, or the Bathurst 12 Hour. Additional partners include IMSA, World of Outlaws, Supercars, and IndyCar, allowing members to race in their very own Indianapolis 500, Bathurst 1000, Chili Bowl, and many more iconic events. This is iRacing, delivering the most authentic racing experience short of getting into a real race car. Sign up today at iRacing.com.
Welcome back to Barcelona Round 2, and the Lotus 79 Sunday Grand Prix Series saw Nicola Cocci take the win over Alex Millward. Interestingly, Millward would have had maximum points because he got fastest lap and the pole, but he didn't take the win. Gernot Frische was in third today with Jukka Tolinen. Bit of a quiet fourth for him. Timo Väskälampi fighting his way to a top 5 ahead of Ove Trankrade, who got a lot of screen time out there, falling from 3rd to 6th. Severi Seppa was 7th with Dylan Freckleton. He didn't need a qualifying. He went from 19th to 8th. Hankel was 9th, and Suarez rounded out your top 10.
Coming home in 11th was Michael de Turk. We saw him have a couple of spins that scuppered his progress up through the field. 12th was Keith Herner, followed by Barry West and Laust Olsen. 15th was Joe Walker with Timothy Reed. Starting off your non-finishers there, Torp, Shavante, Williams, and Hovdal, the other 5 that did not see the checkered flag.
That takes us to our winner, Nicola Cocci, who had a phenomenal start off the line that certainly helped him be able to get up to the lead and fight for the win. Nicola, where are the jet boosters on that car? You were just incredible off the line.
Really? I didn't, I noticed that I was just jumping to guys, but I think it was mainly because they both messed up their start, I think, not because I did anything different as usual.
So you put yourself into third. At what stage did you feel like you could win this race?
Well, we had another race before this one, and we were exactly in the same spot. Alex was in front, it was second, and Gernot was third. And I knew from the beginning that Alex was racing a trimmed car. So he had a little bit more top speed than I did. So I really had to pick. I wanted at least to pick the right position to pass him and then gap him, but he didn't let me. I had just to take what he left, and that was it. I was trying to push him, but he was very consistent. He did I think one mistake when I was behind him, and that was my chance to try to overtake him and try to lead, and exiting the last corner with enough gap that he could not close on me, because I knew that he was going to gain 2 or 3 tenths, no problem every lap there.
Next round is going to be at Montreal, and you and Frische, from my calculation, should be tied for the points lead. Do you think you can make a difference in Canada?
Oh, that's a very, very hard question. I like the track, kinda, but I've not been there for a very long time, so I don't think I raced the 79 very lately, and so I think I had to start from scratch. So I guess that Gernot always had an advantage when we are talking about this series.
Yeah, it's hard to go up against someone with so many championships, but still, I'm impressed with the way your speed has continued to improve in this series, and congratulations. Anybody you want to thank?
Yeah, I want to thank all the drivers. That it's a very nice community. We always help each other. We go for community setup, advice for setting up your computer, because we had a lot of drivers, me included, and with track that had a lot of stutter. So I was able to fix it because of Michael de Turk, that is our know-it-all guy, but in a good way. And so yeah, I was able to keep my head only on racing and without trying to fight my computer and all the stutter. So thank you guys.
That was Nicola Kochi. And speaking of Michael de Turk, unfortunately not the greatest of days, but he did come in to talk to us as DJ has caught up with him.
Well, Michael, it looked like it was a little bit of a tough day there for you, as Joe said. Talk me through that race.
I normally come to you guys when I have a good one, so I figured I'd just switch it up a little bit, and I had a bad one, and I'd come in. It's always hectic at the start, and then Barcelona is slippery by nature. So it was fine, and Ove had a great defense on me, and then I just kind of overdrove the car and decided to spin a lot.
I wanted to ask you about those spins. It looked a little bit like that may have been down to maybe some of the track temperature changes. Were you really feeling that, or what was going on?
I nuked the tires. They were absolutely lava after I spun when Ove was defending into a turn one, and then I really overdrove it trying to catch him and Seppa. And I'm not sure track temperature was as much of an issue as nuking the tires and running them at max PSI, where we've been stuck for 3 seasons. So I think those were more defining factors than track temperature.
All right. Well, we head next week to another Formula One circuit in Montreal. Obviously, a little bit of a different layout and a little bit different characteristics of the track. But how do you fancy your chances there?
I'm usually better on high downforce tracks. The more chickens or chicanes, we joke about chickens in the Lotus chat. The more chickens there are in a circuit, the worse I typically do. So I wouldn't say my chances are great, but we'll see. You never know.
All right. Well, we'll keep an eye out for you. Michael, anybody you'd like to thank today?
Just the usual guys, people helping with setups, helping the community with computer stuff. We're a great open group, and I encourage anybody to join. As usual, I'm going to promote the setup pack that's on the forum. Please go download it if you'd like to join us. It covers every track for the entire season. So,
well, thank you very much, Michael. That was Michael de Turk, your 11th place finisher out here today. Joe?
Yeah, we just saw on the replay how close it was with that wreck at the start between himself and the spinning car. But we're going to close it out with our own thank you, starting, of course, with the Lotus 79 community for bringing us back for another season of coverage. Also, a thanks to the companies that provide the software and the hardware for our broadcast listed here on your screen. Additional thanks to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. Go check out her Bandcamp, where she's got more of her great work. And thanks to the team today, DJ, Ryan, and Dougie. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including upcoming races, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com. Also, check out our social media outlets listed at the bottom of the screen. And if you'd like to support us, check out our merchandise store at simracingmerch.com/GSRC, but we keep a link in the description below. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss a moment, because next week on a holiday, we're going to Canada, July 4th of all days. That'll be 12:30 p.m. Eastern, as always. We also have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen, so check those out, mark them down on your calendar. But we're not done for today. We have the PRL NASCAR Cup Series at Pocono. That'll be at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Until next time, race clean, race hard. We'll see you on the track.